Sup nerds! Welcome back to my channel, guys! Welcome to my new living room. I think I will, once everything's done, because right now only the living room and the kitchen and the bathroom. Those are all like maybe 90% done. A couple things here and there, like some pictures for the walls and things like that. The bedroom is like maybe 10% done. So that's like, we're just waiting for that. But I think eventually, whether it's in its own video or like in a combo video, I'll do a little bit of a tour for you guys because, I don't know, I feel like I've been sharing a lot of this journey with you. And so like I feel like it's only right that I give you the full tour, and I'm also obsessed with it. So I think you need to see it. But I don't know if you can tell, my walls are green, couches are brown, we got some, like, just everything is a vibe and I love it. I wanted to go, well, I'll just tell you, but this is not about that, but I wanted to go for a very like wood aesthetic, like a bunch of like wood like furniture and stuff like that. And so you'll see, but I wanted it to look like a little vintage, but like modern vintage. I don't know, but we'll see. Anyway, as you guys saw by the title, today we were doing a reading wrap up, all the books I read in March. I don't know. It's like I get disappointed with myself just because like I can do more than this. But I'm also like, I read such great books that it's like, get over it. Like, like you don't need to read a certain amount of books a month, but sometimes I get like, oh my gosh, I should have read this one, or like should have read more than that. So anyway though, you'll see how many I read because I don't even know right now. But first, if you guys like talking about books, if you guys like chilling, if you guys like all the nerdy things, definitely give this video a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. Without further ado, let's just get started. Oh hey, I think this is a little bit better. I don't know. We'll see. I know you guys would tell me if you're like, oh my gosh, Marissa, that looks terrible. I'm sure, I trust that you would tell me. That you'd be like, oh my gosh, girl. But anyway, let me see. So I read 7 books this month, which is not bad. You know, this is genuinely to each their own. I feel like, oh my gosh. Wow. Genuinely to each their own. Obviously people go at their own pace. Like some people read 2 or 3 books a month. Totally, you do you. I'm comparing this to myself. I'm comparing myself to myself. I know I've read more. I've read like close to 20 books sometimes. And so 7 is like, oh my gosh, but like you guys, like some of you know, I've been moving and all these things. So my downtime is no longer for reading for the past couple of weeks, and then maybe a couple more weeks. It's no longer downtime for reading, it's downtime to paint some walls, to build a piece of furniture. Like that's what I'm doing. And so unless I buy a bajillion audiobooks, and even then, like I'll be like painting with my mom, so I'm not going to listen to an audiobook while we're painting together, you know? So all that being said, I've done better, but it's fine. We'll take the 7. And that means, well, I'll explain the TBR. I only read the books on my TBR, which is great. I do think most of these were in reading vlogs. I think quite a few of these were in reading vlogs, or like I gave updates on my channel, besides one that I had talked about, but I didn't finish in that video. So anyway, first things first, we did finish Rebel Witch by Kristen Ciccarelli. I enjoyed this book. You know, I think the duology's fun, but I definitely think like it went from being like, oh my gosh, so exciting, so good, to like just a little bit lower. Like I think the series for me is like, and that's not how averages work, but in my head, I feel like it's more of like a 4.5 series versus like a 5-star series, because I gave book 1 a 5-star and I loved it. But like book 2 is just a little bit like not as exciting, and I feel like when you finish off on like a lower note than the first one, I feel like it messes with me up, because 4.5 is not a bad rating, but I just wasn't obsessed. And I explained it again in a reading vlog, but I just think that it was like, I don't know, it could have taken a different turn. It was very predictable, and just like a number of different things that I was just like, this is okay, but like not enough that I hated the book. Like I still gave it 4.5 stars, but things that I think weren't as good as the first book, if that makes sense. And this disappoints me because like this is kind of like Divine Rivals for me, because I loved the first Divine Rivals. I loved Divine Rivals, and then the second book was just not as good. And so both of these duologies now just sit at like in like limbo in my head because I'm like, it's a duo, it's only 2 books, like you gotta give me both 5 stars, please. Or at least the first book be like less than 5 stars and the second book be 5 stars. That's the one. Then I loved but I read Unloved by Peyton Corinne. I just love Peyton Corinne's writing. I'm so excited for the next book. I don't think we know any details yet, but I haven't seen any details yet, but I ate this book up. I gave it 5 stars. I just think it was so cute. The way she just writes her characters are so relatable, but like you also like just cherish them. You're just like, you guys are the best. Like you love her characters, and you really feel this story in every piece of you. And again, this isn't a reading vlog, but it's so good. It is college students, but I don't feel like they're super young. Like, I don't feel like, oh, they're younger than me. You know what I mean? I feel like, I don't know, we just understand each other. And so I love that book. I'm just gonna go quickly, I'm so sorry. Then I read Crescent City by Sarah J Maas. I did give you a big like vlog with just this book. I loved this book, and I know one of you were saying that like you read it as a standalone, and I'm like, I'm right there with you, because it doesn't need to be the 3-book series. We could have ended it here, and obviously the ending like leads to like a couple, like not even the ending though. The ending book closed. The book is finished after the end of this book, but then the epilogue opens up like a whole, like a couple other things that you're like, oh, that's why there's more stories. But genuinely, you could read this as a standalone, especially because it's a bajillion years long. Like, would you want to read the whole thing? Especially because people don't love the next 2 books as much as this one. And so I'm like, I don't know. Well, I think some people really love the blue book, the second book, but I know most people don't like the 3rd book, so I don't know, but this is a good one. It's definitely Sarah J Maas worthy. So if you loved like her writing and you love Sarah J Maas, like definitely read this one, but I'm not saying I'll read the other 2 very quickly. I feel like I have to at some point, but like not very quickly, you know? And that one I listened to the dramatized version. That was so fun. So fun. It's so funny because I ended up thinking about this book a lot throughout the month. Like, I'm not gonna lie, some of these like blur together, you know, like after you read them. If I'm not sitting down literally thinking of the sequence of events, it's not coming out of my mouth. But for some reason, this one popped up in my brain a couple of times. This is The Wild Huntress by Emily Lloyd-Jones. And every time I thought about this book, it was the same reaction. I was like, why did she do that? This could have been a 5-star standalone fantasy romance. She was this close. Literally, she was this close. I ended up going with a 4.25. But I think she was like a hair off. I think there were little things that like weren't my favorite, but I think if there was one big thing that really knocked it points for me, and I think that if that big thing didn't happen, I would have bypassed everything else and still given it a 5-star. She just makes this one decision that even I've seen people who, you know, comment or write their reviews, and they're like, why did you do that? Like, why did you do that? And so, one thing, so stupid, but the rest of it was so fun. I was in it, hooked. And I listened to this as well as an audiobook, and I just felt like it was so good. Like, it's so easily, doesn't take a lot of world building. You kind of get the story right away. I think it was a little confusing in the beginning because I was listening to it, so I wasn't seeing the names, I was just hearing them, and I'm like, they all sounded the same for a second there, but then once it gets cleared up, you kind of understand, and then it's just easy to follow along. It's really fun, honestly. It's a really fun one. It's a good one, and I was very happy that it was a standalone because I did not want to start another series that I'd have to wait for the next book and blah, 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 blah. So I was very happy about that. This is so funny. Then I read Kingmaker's Year 4 by Sophie Lark. I enjoyed this book a lot. I ended up going with 5 stars. I think why I had to go with 5 stars though is the ending. Like the epilogue ends like this is the last book, and so you get like sneak peeks into other people's lives and just like all the fun stuff. I think that if this was like, if you were asking me like about the romance specifically in this, it's not my favorite. I think like honestly, like 75, maybe even 80% of this book I loved. Like the development was so great. It was just the ending, kind of like the romance got lost in the sauce. But I think that's the special thing about and the best thing about these books and this series is that it's not necessarily, I know that they're described as romance and like they're on the romance shelf and like the back says romance, but I think that there's so much, like you have to remember that they're mafia romance. So like it's the mafia part that's important as well. And so that's what I think carried this book was the mafia side, and so you get so many different things. Look at the trigger warnings though, content warnings, like make sure you check. But it's actually hilarious. I didn't know that this was supposed to be the last book. So if you're reading this series, this one is technically supposed to be the last. So when you get to it, it's going to conclude like it's the last book. But then I guess because so many people were asking for another character's story, that then eventually she wrote the graduation year. But this one concludes like it's going to end. And that's why I had to get it 5 stars, because it's just like the prettiest bow, and I was very happy. So I'm nervous about the next one, because that's why people don't like that one that much, because it kind of ends perfectly, and then it's like, now you're gonna open back up the door. I don't know. So I'm nervous about that one, but I love that book. Okay, last two. Then I read A Promise of Peridot. I think it's just Peridot by Kate Golden. This one I enjoyed. I ended up going with 4.25. I think I liked Onyx Storm better, the first book. I think this book was like a little, I don't know. I don't want to say like predictable, because I hate to say that, because obviously fantasy romance at some point is going to get redundant. Like it's kind of like a given, and that doesn't always necessarily bother me. It's just like when it stops being exciting. And again, I still gave this book 4.25, so don't get me wrong. It was exciting. It was great. It was fun. I just think that there were some points where I was just like, okay, like let's speed this up. I definitely think I was gonna give it a lower rating until the ending of this book. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. And it ended crazy. So I'm really excited for the third book. Third book has the potential to be a 5-star. This one I also thought would be a 5-star, but it was not. And that's okay. I just think it's not my favorite. I don't think the storyline is my favorite. The thing is that I feel like it's so bad, because I feel like, again, this is a book that's set up to be a 5-star. I just think across the execution was given a 4-star. It feels like a 4-star. Like not 4-star series necessarily, but just like certain things feel like 4-star, and I gave it 4.25 stars. So there were some things that I really loved, but I just think in general, the series is just like not. I want it to be a Fourth Wing. I want it to be an ACOTAR. I want it to be a Throne of Glass, but it's just not. It's just not. You know? It's close. It's close. It could, but it's just not right now. I mean, that's for like also the characters, the storyline, the background characters, the like the flow of the book, like all those things are just like, they're just good to me. Like they're not exceptional. Does that make sense? All right, and then the last book that I read was Funny Feelings by Tara DeWitt. I literally finished this on the I actually finished this on the 30th. So I had one more day, but I was like, if I don't finish this on the 31st, like I will stay up all night until I can finish this, because I want to finish it before the next month. This was the last book on my TBR. All the other ones were on my DBR, so I needed to finish this one. I enjoyed this book. I didn't love it, but I enjoyed it. I gave it a 4-star. I gave it a 4.25. I'm a liar. I gave it a 4.25, and I think the 2.25 definitely came from the ending. I think the ending was super sweet. It was just like a perfect, again, bow around the story. I just think this book was good. I enjoyed it. I think there were funny moments, cute moments. I just think there's nothing, and I think that's what I've themed. That's what I've gathered about Tara DeWitt, is just her writing is just like very basic level good. I think she tries to add some like fun element twists and things that they just like, they don't add anything, but they also don't take anything away. So you're kind of like, okay, it's fine. And so, yeah, I don't think she's going to be a favorite author, but I definitely think her books are good. Like if there's a couple more that are probably on my radar that I'll read eventually. So it's like, it was just good. I thought that, I don't know, I wasn't like attached to this story. Like you could have taken this at any point and I would have maybe Googled the ending, but like I would have been fine not finishing it, and I never want that feeling in a book. And so that's what kind of like didn't work in its favor. I wasn't like attached, but I did finish it, and so I'm glad that I finished it. It was cute. It was cute. Oh gosh. That is such a March stack. I can't believe, I thought for sure I had read at least 1 or 2 books that weren't on my TBR, but I guess I didn't. I know I started one, but I didn't finish it. So you might be saying, Marissa, don't you usually choose 8 books on your TBR? I do, and I did. So this final book, I actually decided to unhaul. If you guys did not see that I did a whole video to some books I'm unhauling. It is sad, it is annoying. I don't love to unhaul, but it's just better to reduce the clutter, and I never want to go into a book feeling forced to read it. So this book could be super fun and fresh, but it's been on my TBR. This book came out in what is the word? It came out in July, but I got it before it released, so it's almost a year old in my collection. Not quite a year, but like it's been on there for months, and if I'm not going to read it now, I'm not going to read it next month, I'm not going to read it the month after, so I'm just going to let go of it, and and then if it comes back into my life, hopefully I'll read it, you know, like what I mean? It's not the end of the world. So I technically completed my TBR. We counted it last month. We're counting it again. All 8 books are off my TBR cart, so that is a complete win. Yeah, it's funny. I'm 25% of the way through one more book, but it's a reread, so it's not even another book. But anyway, I don't know. It's like always bittersweet. I think half of these books though I had started like the first week of March, and then as the month went on, I slowly slowed down. I like forced myself into a reading slump because I was reading so fast, and so I definitely don't want to do that again, and I definitely won't do it again. I think for March, I have less books on my TBR, which I'm grateful for. I have more audiobook options, which I'm also thankful for, and then I have I'm just gonna take it like I don't have any reading vlogs planned, which I know you guys love, but maybe I'll just do like a daily reading diaries or something like that, like record that, because like genuinely I'm just gonna go at my pace, no rush, no fuss, and see what we can complete. You know, I love that I've completed all 4 of, January, February, March, all 3 of my TBRs in the year. I love that. They've all been completed. All the books are off my shelves, but you know, it's not gonna be realistic for the whole year, so I'm like, okay, if 1 month I don't do it, like, it'll be fine. So anyway, we'll see. I'm also on another book buying ban for April, and I did not finish our buddy read. I'm so sorry, but hopefully we can finish that in April, but we'll see. Anyway, guys, that is it for this video. Let me know what books you read in March. Did we read any of the same books? And yes, any tips and tricks to like, I don't know if I'm necessarily in a reading slump, because when I get myself to read, I'm enjoying it. Like, I'm loving it, but it's hard to like get myself to read. Like, if I'm gonna sit down and do anything, I'm gonna put on TV, and I'm like, girl. So we'll see. I don't know. Any tips and tricks, let me know. That is it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, nerds.